Hi. Okay, energy check for January 22nd to the 25th, which is Pada 2 of the missing nakshatra, Abhijit, which I found enough space for in the wheel when I fixed the math. That's in Capricorn. Capricornus, the constellation. That's where the sun is. And we are just getting past Pluto, all that career energy in Pluto. And Pluto is, I thought, was just as a prolific writer right now. So lots of prolific writers being born right now, but also surgeons, pathologists, and people completely obsessed with being precise. Lots of precision work. I do believe it's split between those two padas, which means it's split between, no, it's still in Sagittarius. It's not split between Sagittarius and Capricorn. Just at the very end of Sagittarius. So, what's interesting about... Okay, that's interesting. I don't think there's necessarily a special meaning behind that. Just physics. In the deck, 4 cards flipped in the deck together, started by the Tower, reversed. So, something major, connected to all your uniqueness, your unique skills, childhood interests that got thwarted or need to be returned to, or have been with you all along. But usually with Aquarius, there's some thwarting going on there, if not worse. Came out with the Chariot. So absolute clarity of 12th house, mastermind energy, being organized, being on top of everything, being ready to move. So that paired with the Tower reversed, so that Tower cleared a whole bunch of stuff out, right? Or up. And the Emperor wears all crowns. The Emperor rides the Chariot. So hopefully those 2 animals sitting on the ground, going nowhere, are up off their asses and moving. And we do have a business partnership here. The double helix around the staff, that's Hermes staff, not Asclepius staff. So it's medical establishment uses the double snakes. I said double helix, didn't I? Yeah, good on me. The helix, the double snakes. Everything's a reference to the Delphi oracles, who were the African prophetesses, yeah, including the single snake. But the double one is commercial, as well as medical. So the pharmaceuticals, yes. But Mercury, Hermes rules salespeople, right? So a lot of business energy around that 2 cups, echoed by the independence, the financial independence of the 9 of Pentacles. Now, it's my card for Hygeia, daughter of, well, that's how we get the word hygiene. But again, and that's just pointing more to the truth of needing to know the truth about symbols in history and who's been cut out of history by white supremacists, right? And the knowledge stolen from everybody. So particularly the African prophetesses who ruled the Mediterranean, guided its empires for about 6,000 years. They're the oracles. Okay, so Juno here, let's see if I can get to focus correctly. Juno, Jupiter's wife, so Hera and Zeus, yeah. There's a Juno spacecraft that's investigating Jupiter, Jupiter's rings and moons and things, right? Juno pulls back the clouds to see what Jupiter's up to with other lovers, yes. So she's got a Dorothy and Toto and, Wizard of Oz aspect to her. Having said that, there's also a level of dissociative energy. Juno, I find anybody who's stuck investigating their partner, there's some level of blindsidedness. So there might be, around this Tower, there might have been some dissociation or something that needed to be cleared up, is where I'm getting with that. And now, clearly, something's coming together because we follow that with the sun. And my card for Sevastopol asteroid, which is Crimea, very strategic. It's, it's a highly contested being. a gentle word. Very strategic location though, and we put that with the sun, right? What's interesting about having the sun here central is that we have the moon also central. I decided to count down by sevens because we've got a fair emphasis on 7 in some ways, and I thought this seems pretty transformative. We do end with the Justice, which Libra 7th house. I realize it's the 11th card, but sometimes it's switched in the deck, right? With 8, not 7. But no, I think 7th house. So no, we have this whole partnership bringing in instincts, gameplay, Sun, Leo, the house of gameplay, and leadership, and institutions, ideologies, but yeah, all of your leadership placements. So again, and then with this strategic location, so something's come together in probably a very specific space-time. And so Justice, again, the scales of commerce, so a contract, because this is quite huge. It should already have been building together. It probably shouldn't come as a total surprise, because that was the surprise, was the Tower. So if this is resonating, something's been building, right? And so if there's action you need to take, then take this as affirmation to take that action. I do have a King of Swords in reverse at the top of the split with the 7 of Pentacles in an upright. So to me, that means that there is an extended family member as a spirit guide, who is specialized in networking, all things Aquarian, knowing how to be, well, in Aquarius you have manifesting, you have networking, you have being, what do I want to say, celebrity, a cultural icon, and then you have all the circuitry. You have being a semiconductor, where you need to really know your worth, you know, as being extremely necessary but probably underpriced. Star Delta circuit, which is induction engine energy, which is you're either self-starting or you're using somebody else's material to get started. You know, arranging, both are totally valid, but sometimes we get stuck in one energy when we need to be self-starting, or the other way around, just as easily. And it's a question of, do you need to find somebody else's, what they've started, and to build with that. So that's the second part of that, that's Shadabisha in Aquarius. And then comparative circuit, where you're in executive mode, making fast decisions based on the stronger of two impulses. And then passive circuit, where you're basically a medium and you're pulling in a lot of information from other souls, be they physically in your presence with people in this world, in this, you know, everybody's in this world with us, but you know, you can see them or you can't see them. Well, that's not even fair if you're a psychic who can see people through the veil, right? But being an empath, being stuck, pulling in a lot of information, you've got to be, you're not able to be out acting so much on your own. You have to be taking in, right? And that can keep you quite vulnerable. It's a very, you know, there's just a lot of positive to that as well, because then you do get a lot of information, but it can be hard to come out of that. We have at the bottom of the other split 7 swords in reverse, suggesting to stay. And that this Ace of Pentacles is coming in with it. And I do believe over here we have an Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the split coming in with a Page of Pentacles. And the fact that when I get to the 7s, I get to the moon, safe passage. So I do have a sense that this King of Swords, and don't necessarily get stuck on the gender, more the energy. But again, you know, what does that mean then? But bringing in this whole situation. So there's contracts, one contract's over, another contract's coming in, with the Magician energy, Mercury. But we've got completion of South Node down here. We've got Hannibal in the upright, so climbing the mountain and winning, getting the victory. More spirit guides, Queen of Wands reversed. So that's somebody who's either an oracle or extremely a writer or a legal mind. Could be some kind of healer, a fire starter. But a spirit guide connected to your big city connections. So this is quite the collaboration that should be coming in. We've got the 9th house there, so long journeys, the big trouble you're here to do, the good stuff, and again under the watchful gaze of Pallas asteroid. So it is under threat, and we do have your vertex here. Anti-vertex is in the same split of the pile. I did check where it was. I can't remember exactly which cards either side, but it was significant, but not so significant that it got screen time, right? So the fact that the vertex is here is other people have to, so this King of Swords is extended family and these spirit guides. Something's on them to do it. Your vertex is what other people have to do that affects what you do in your anti-vertex. So I would say, yes, don't be running off anywhere. You're in position, you're in your strategic position. It's a question of pulling everything together, I do believe, and this transformation taking place. So if there's possibly, yes, the safe passage of the moon, there's a lodge possibly involved in this. So they're possibly having to be careful, especially with the Palace card right there. So organizations that can influence things, influence your legal standing, things like that. So something might need to be worked out that way, especially with Temperance right next to it. And that's at their end, right? Making sure that you are, because this is a very dynamic position that you're in. You do have the Devil 7 in with the Fool reversed. So yes, just steady as she goes. You've got your Knight of Swords spirit guide there. So I would say coming in with the Page of Cups, somebody in your family might be coming in with communication around this work situation. But we do have another Ace there. I think it's the Wands. Yes. Yeah, it's the Wands. So getting your fire back. So yes, and because we are in the Pada 2 of Abhijit is Fated Winners and Heroes. And we want that really to work in your favor. My circuit that has Fated Winner Hero in it is tied to my Chiron, my stolen career as a dancer and athlete, which I've always felt strongly before I ever knew that was where my Chiron was. But it's also tied to my Mars leadership, and my Mars is as a collaborator and oracle. Practically speaking, it all connects to my work as Kristen's home cleaning and connecting with all the murder victims through all the homes and businesses that I've cleaned, to the point where I can't ignore, I couldn't ignore being in contact with that many victims needing my help and becoming that kind of a person that helps murder victims, right? It gave me a tremendous amount of physical evidence through all kinds of different people, right? So I'm not just in my head thinking it, right? And so my circuit, because I have eight pointed star patterns in my chart. When you line up your ascendant with the start of house number 1, that creates sequencing. It's like lining up one wheel inside the other wheel, and all the padas line up in sequence together, and then you can find math patterns in that. It's really straightforward if you're comfortable with thinking in those terms, but if you need to adjust your mind to looking at things that way, then it takes a bit. But that's what I do with birth charts as well. So I know fated winners. I have some that have died, and they died for being winners and heroes, and that was part of their journey. I'm not saying that's right. This is as much a malevolent universe to me, you probably know, as a benevolent one. But again, the more we know our charts, the more we can affect what happens. I don't think we really stand a chance at going off the grid until we understand the grid. Because certainly we didn't create this pocket of the multiverse, nor the multiverse itself. So, well, I mean, unless you did, and then can you please do something about it? No, why'd you stick us here in the first place? So anyway, now that I've used up 16 minutes, but yeah, no, that's what we're at. We're in the fated winner hero energy for the next few days. And then we get into reverse engineering. So, and that's when I'll be back. All right.